Hi, welcome to Jovie's home. I post new videos every Tuesday and sometimes on Thursdays. Today, I want to talk about noteworthy Dutch television shows. I was so surprised to hear what impact the Netherlands has had on some of the best TV since the 2000s. I mean, really. The Netherlands has played such a big role in shaping some reality TV shows that I never would have guessed are Dutch. So if that sounds good to you, if you want to talk about Dutch TV and cool stuff, then why don't you come on in, kick off your shoes and stay a while. I'm really glad you're here. Sometimes I check my Dutch word of the day with Dan because I'm not sure that it's always the literal translation might be correct, but colloquially it might not be correct. So sometimes I do check the Dutch word of the day just to make sure that it's right. So today, for this one, guilty pleasure, I sent it to Dan and he just laughed and laughed because guilty pleasure in Dutch is beschamend pleziertje, at least that's what Google Translate says. Some of the time, in Dutch language, they will have adapted or accepted the English word as the Dutch word. So if two Dutch people are speaking to each other and they want to say that they have a guilty pleasure, they're not going to say beschamend pleziertje, they will just say ik heb een guilty pleasure. So today's Dutch word of the day is guilty pleasure. And yes, it is in English, but yes, it is also in Dutch. The first thing we're going to talk about is the TV show that I cannot get enough of. Trust nobody. Wie is the Mole, y'all. Wie is the Mole. Now, how many of you are watching? Please like this video if you are watching Wie is the Mole. And hopefully I will get 10 million likes because who's not watching Wie is the Mole in the Netherlands? I think that there's a little bit of a misconception that Wie is the Mole started out as a Dutch TV show, and it didn't. It started out in Belgium. Just for the sake of this video and because I can, because it's my channel, we're including it here. So it first aired in Belgium in 1998, and then the very following year, it was here in the Netherlands. And this summer, they actually aired a special anniversary season, which was a totally special season, and that was the first thing that I watched. Nikki Tutorials was in it, so I had to watch. And Dan was just like, Jovie, come on, get with the program, girl. You need to watch Wie is the Mole. So I was like, fine, let's watch it. And so good. I remember Wie is the Mole, or Who is the Mole, being on American TV when I was a teenager. And it was exactly the same concept, but I never realized that it was a Dutch TV show that I was watching on American television. And not only America, but 18 other countries made it their own too. So in 18 countries worldwide, they have a version of Wie is the Mole. The Dutch version of the TV show takes place all over the world, in a different country every season. And it's 10 candidates and it lasts for 10 weeks. And if you're not familiar with the program, one of them is the mole. And the point of the game is that the candidates all have to work together to complete tasks or do cool things. And once they're completing that, they get money for the pot. The mole's role is to make sure that as little money goes into the pot as possible. So the mole is at every moment trying to sabotage the game without being found out who he is or she is. The games themselves, the missions, the assignments themselves, they are hard, you guys. When I watched the series with Nikki, the one last summer, I was just these things are literally hard enough to complete without having somebody sabotage you. But they're crazy, but they're so interesting. You need brains, you need endurance, you need everything. You are being bombarded, your senses are being tested at every single moment. And even you as the audience are just captivated. There's an app that you can play along with and you can kind of have this thing. We have a pool on the Wie is the Mole app. We'll leave a link below. So if you want to join our pool and kind of play along and guess, join us. It's really fun. I made the gravest mistake of putting some points on every single person the first week. And then I was burp at the bottom of the pool. That's okay. We're gonna make it. We're gonna find out who it is, and it's all in good fun. So if you want to join our pool, you can. There is an actual YouTube channel And this girl literally transcribes every single We Is the Mole show and puts on English subtitles. So if you are interested in watching it, then I will also leave a link for that below and you can check it out. And if you live in the Netherlands and if you want to participate in our pool and you want to do all the fun stuff, but you don't speak Dutch, you can still follow along. Watch it with English subtitles. It is worth it. It's worth it. Next up, maybe you guys have heard of the TV show called The Voice. Well, did you know that it originally aired as The Voice of Holland, and then all the other countries copied it? So originally, the whole concept of The Voice started in the Netherlands. The creator of The Voice is a guy called John de Mol, and he just creates incredible television. But I would like to petition that John de Mol is recruited onto a season of We Is the Mole, and that he is the actual mole, okay? Because that would make my brain very happy, that the mole is on We Is the Mole and he is the mole. Okay, sorry. So if you don't know The Voice, it was a singing competition launched in 2010, and that's really what set it apart, was the fact that the judges did not face the competitors in the audition round. So The Voice was so focused on the talent of the person, and that's really what makes it so captivating and intriguing. Once all the auditions are completed, then the judges kind of like stop being judges, and instead they become kind of like mentors or coaches, and they kind of push their team. They help them to improve and teach and do all that stuff, and then they cheer them on during kind of like the knockout rounds when the people from different teams compete against each other. Next up, I want to talk about Big Brother. And Big Brother was also created by John de Mol. And Big Brother was a TV show that only aired for a few seasons in the Netherlands, but it has been much more long running in other parts of the world. Basically, you have contestants who live in a house and they're just filmed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, pretty much doing anything except going to the toilet. They can even be filmed showering as long as they're not alone. You know what I mean? It was also influenced by shows like The Real World or Expedition Robinson. Expedition Robinson is also known as Survivor in a lot of places. So this was kind of like the start of really like reality TV and kind of like that voyeuristic element of it. And I think that Big Brother is different than things like The Voice of Holland or We Is the Mole, where this is really a much more voyeuristic, much more personal look into what people are doing and how they live. And like, it's, much more than just them kind of coming out and competing for a talent. What is interesting is that this year, on January 4th of 2021, Big Brother came back to the Netherlands. So Big Brother Netherlands and Belgium combined, and we have a new season here. So I'm curious, are you watching that? Are you watching the new season, or are you over Big Brother? Are you into the people who are there? I'm not watching it, but I want to hear from you guys because I love hearing from you guys, and you guys change my mind a lot. So tell me if I'm missing something or if I'm not really. Next up, I want to talk about a show that is not typically Dutch, but this year it is. And so I want to give it a little bit of space here on my platform, and that is Eurovision. So Eurovision is an international song contest. It has been continuously running since 1956, making it the longest running singing competition in the world. You get countries from everywhere, but mostly Europe, but then like Australia comes in too. So mostly Europe that each like nominate a singer and a song to send to Eurovision. Why is it notable this year? Because this year the event takes place in the Netherlands. And the reason that it takes place in the Netherlands is because the last winner of Eurovision was the Netherlands, and that's how kind of each country where the event takes place is selected based on the winner of the previous year. So in 2019, Duncan Lawrence, who's a Dutch guy, won with his song Arcade. Of course, we cannot play it because of copyright, but he won, which then meant that in 2020, Eurovision would be hosted by the Netherlands. 2020 being the year from hell, did not allow any fun. So Eurovision was canceled. And in 2021, it will happen. So this May, from Rotterdam Ahoy Theatre, we will be watching Eurovision 2021. What I find really interesting about Eurovision is that it's not like a panel of judges that selects, like that, you know, that chooses the winner or something. It's actually the countries that are competing against each other that are also voting for each other. So I'm not sure that I fully understand the voting system, but each country is awarding points and there's this thing, and it's a multi-day event. And it's also the third largest watched event on TV. You have the Olympic opening ceremonies, you have the American Super Bowl, and then you have Eurovision in terms of how much it's watched. So that's crazy that something is that popular on TV. And this year it will be, in Rotterdam. Going back to shows that were created by Dutch people and first aired in the Netherlands, the last thing that we're going to talk about is Fear Factor. Now, Fear Factor, I also watched when I lived in the United States because it was also on American television. And once again, did not know that it was Dutch. But you see, look, all these little things, they just kept leading me to the Netherlands my whole life. I'm going to give you one guess who created it. Did you say John de Mol? Ah, you're right. That John de Mol, man, he is just like all over this video. But not really. Originally, there was a show called Now or Never, and that aired like from 1993 to 1998 in the Netherlands. And that show really was about helping people overcome their fear, and then they would win money. So you're afraid of cats? Come pet this cat. If you can pet the cat, you win 500 guilders. Like, it was this kind of game. But John de Mol took that concept once that TV show was off the air, and he turned it around and he made it into Fear Factor. So with Fear Factor, it is much more of like a stunt kind of adventure game. And did you know that actually airs in 39 countries? Not necessarily still running, but it aired in 39 different countries. Like, just think about that. Like, you have The Mole in 19 countries. The Voice, I'm not sure how many, like a lot. I didn't count them. You have Fear Factor in 39 different countries, like Big Brother, everywhere. And it's like, what an impact Dutch culture and Dutch media has actually had on worldwide international media. Like, that is freaking impressive. With Fear Factor, you had people competing in teams or individually, but it was really not so much about things that made the person scared, like with the Now or Never concept, but it was things that everybody would find really scary, like being trapped in a box that's filled with like tarantulas and you have to stay there for an hour. Like, even if you don't have a fear of tarantulas or small boxes, like, that is some scary shit and terrifying. But then, but it makes it for absolutely engaging television. So that's it, you guys. That is my absolutely noteworthy Dutch TV video. I hope that you liked it. I want to know, did I miss a really important show? Do we need to make a part 2 about this? If so, tell me why and tell me what, and we can look at it. But I'm really enjoying going on to this, like, learning much more about, like, going deeper into Dutch culture and society and looking at the impact that it's had on the world. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming over. I really appreciate any time that you spent with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Doei!